Hey, it's erynduhnay and welcome back to my channel. This is the second portion of the vlog where I'm just going to give my thoughts on my overall experience of the KIZH competition, and as well as a few key tips and tricks on how you can improve and set yourself and your team up to have the best chances for winning. Now, these are tips that I walked away with that I think really set our team apart and really improved our team dynamics and our teamwork together. And as far as like the actual technical things, such as like forming the real strategies and creating the presentation, I don't really have any tips for those. But if you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. But just to address that, I do think that the actual technical work, like forming strategies, creating solutions, creating the presentation, is really going to come down to being a hit or a miss.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So what were you saying?
I think the most important part about that though is to focus on the prompt and actually answer the prompt. Don't read the prompt and then veer off into whatever you want to do. They're looking for things and solutions and strategies that actually answer the questions, the problems, the issues that are in the prompt. And so for the more technical work, for you know, the nitty gritty.
Ooh, and then put it into his own chin as he slammed the ball to the...
Like strategy and critical thinking, I would suggest just going off of the prompt and really following that to a T. I know just in the whirlwind of trying to get all the work done, sometimes that goal can get lost. So that's my biggest piece of advice for that, is to please follow the prompt. And I do mention that again in some of my other tips and tricks, but we will get into that later. All right, so for my overall experience, my general thoughts are that it was great. It was a great experience, and I truly do mean that it would have been great even if my team hadn't won. Even if my team hadn't moved on, it still would have been a great experience. Most importantly, because I really believed in the work that we produced. I think that we all did, and I really think that we made a great product. We made a great presentation, a great persuasive strategy, something new, something out of the box, and something that I was actually really proud of for, you know, creating in a weekend, which is, just so that you know, is a very short time for a KIZH competition. It's probably the shortest one out there. So we literally had 16 hours, I think it was, to break everything down, put the presentation together, and literally turn it in. And then after that, we could only present and present and present, depending upon how many times you moved forward. So yes, I think my overall experience was good. I had a great time. I honestly had a great team, and you're gonna hear me talk about my team a lot. So it's very important who's on your team. It's very important, their perspectives, the way that they work, the way they prefer to work, the way that y'all mesh together and brainstorm together, the way that y'all communicate. Communication is very important in these kinds of things. And this was interesting because we did decide to do it all virtual as a team, meaning that we would just basically be on a Zoom for the entire time, discussing things back and forth. I know that some of the other teams decided to meet up in person and be physically with each other, but that just wasn't as feasible for us, and so that's how we did it. You know, if you have the choice to be either physically together or not physically together, that's completely up to your team. That's completely up to y'all's circumstances and the feasibility of that. So I'm not here to tell you whether one is better than the other. I feel like it's gonna come down to how the team works together. I grew a lot in my communication and my collaboration skills, in just getting more experience, honestly, in seeing what it's like to create strategies, to present them, and see what it would be like to do that kind of work in a real professional setting. And I think it's great experience if you're seriously considering going into a field like consulting or strategy or like process improvement or like I know sometimes it's called transformation. If you're considering any kind of field like that, I would highly recommend having a case competition under your belt. I think just doing one, you don't necessarily have to win for it to be impressive, honestly. I think just doing one and being able to walk away with some lessons or some things that you learned or some kind of skill improvement is still just as good, and it looks just as good on your resume, honestly. You could just say participant. To go into the structure of this competition, I may have or may not, I can't remember, explain it in the mini vlog that was before this in part 1 of this video. But just to quickly go over it again, it was for the Penn State case competition, and we did have to go through 3 rounds of judging. So let me start from the top. First, we had like an orientation on Thursday night. Then on Friday morning was when they dropped the case. They dropped the case 8 a.m. Eastern time. I'm on the West Coast, so it was 5 a.m. our time. So my team decided to get up so that we could, have the case and have just as much time as the other teams. So we got up about like 4:45 or 4:50, something like that. Got on a Zoom call and basically waited for the case to drop. And the case drop in this case was just the case being sent to your email and all of the materials that come with it. So for us, we got a prompt, we got background and context of the health system that the prompt was focused on. We also got some other resources that the health organization just wanted to share with us, just for more information and to improve our strategies and our approaches to this prompt for this competition. And that was pretty much it. And then within those 16 hours, because the case dropped 8 a.m. Eastern time and it had to be turned in, I want to say 9. No, it was midnight Eastern time. So it was 9 our time. So yeah, it dropped 8 in the morning, and then the deadline was midnight to turn in your presentation. So everything, all your slides, your appendix in there, all that had to be done in the same day, literally. It was insane. And then after that, once you turn in your case, you go through the first round of judging the next day. It's like the next morning or so. Then they announce the teams that move on. You present again in the afternoon. Then they announce who moves on, and then you present Sunday morning for the last time. And for us, on Sunday morning, we actually were able to present to like healthcare executives and leaders at that health system that actually work there. So we presented directly to them on Sunday morning, and they were our last judges that we presented to, and they decided who placed, basically. Because for the last round, it was down to 3 teams already, so it was like you knew that you placed, but you just didn't know what place you were going to be placed at. So that's basically what they did. They're like, just put us in order. So yes, that is the structure for the Penn State case competition. It's literally in one weekend. So if you want to do this case competition, it's kind of great because you're done with it in one weekend. Some case competitions, like you do the thing, you have a week, and then you don't find out like to the next week if you got awarded or if you made it on or stuff like that. So other case competitions can kind of drag out sometimes. But if you want the time, then that might be better for you. Whereas this one, it's literally just in one weekend, really short, really simple. It was a great option for me because I am working full-time this semester. So to do it in the weekend and maybe just have to take like one day off was completely doable for me. And I really, a goal of mine was to get case competition experience. So I was able to meet that with this one, with this option. I will say it was extremely tiring and exhausting. When you're in the case competition and you're just doing the work. I think that for me it was like adrenaline moving me forward and like just motivation of just like we're almost done, we're almost there. But then when it's all over, you're like, oh my god, I am so tired. And so you might feel a little bit of burnout, a little bit of exhaustion. And so you definitely want to take that time after it's over to kind of recuperate and prioritize yourself and self-care and all of those things, because those are super, super important. Yes, okay, so that is the structure of the case competition and a little bit of how I felt after it was over. I was done. I was relieved because we had done really well, but I was like, yo, I'm taking a nap, you know? Finally! And now I'm gonna go into a few tips that I think helped our team stand out from other teams and gave us a leg up. A lot of them are focused on teamwork and team dynamics. They're really not so much, they're not like strategies to make sure you win. It's not really that, but I think these are things that the judges are able to pick up on that can affect how you're presenting and how you answer questions, because we did have a Q&A section at the end of each round of presenting, and judges will pick up on, you know, like those little things. They're gonna notice if your group doesn't seem to be quite on the same page about something, or if your group doesn't seem to be working well together, or if one person did 70% of the work and the other 3 people didn't do much. They're gonna notice those things, and it's going to give them a negative outlook on your presentation. Even if the work is amazing, they're gonna be like, but the team doesn't seem really strong. Like, everyone doesn't seem really confident about this.
You know what? I have no cutback.
So that's why I'm giving you guys tips on how to improve that, and ways that I feel like my team really tried to focus on that, even though we didn't really think it was gonna, you know, result in getting first place. But looking back, I'm like, oh, these are things that I don't think every group really did, you know? So I'm giving y'all these tips because I want y'all to win, okay? Period. So tip number 1 is to try to meet and bond, these are parentheses, and bond with your team members prior to the case competition actually starting. I think that my team could have done a better job at this, but it's okay. We were all super busy. But I definitely feel like you should feel a bond with your team members, especially when you're working together, right? You guys should feel like a friendly vibe with each other. It should be good vibes. It should be positive vibes. It should be y'all are low-key having fun. You know, doing the research and doing the work, and y'all are tapping in and helping each other and stepping up when you need to and trying to fix this and help each other with that. Like, it should be teamwork. And if you need to meet and get to know one another before doing the case competition together, then do that. I know some case competitions, you can just pick people. You can just pick whoever you want on your team, and maybe it'll be your friends, maybe it'll be your coworkers, maybe it'll be your classmates, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, in this case competition, we have an organization at USC for the MHA program called HC3, which is the Healthcare Case Competition Club. And for this one, we actually had to interview, and they placed us into teams. So we had no idea who we would be working with, like, until I think a week or 2 before the actual case. So I just did not really know the people I was working with that well. One of them actually randomly ended up being my roommate, but I really recommend meeting and bonding with your teammates, and this could help you learn, okay, what's the best way to communicate with this person? What's the best way to confront this person or ask this person a question? You can learn those little cues and skills as you get to know them a little bit. I'm not saying, you know, spend 24 hours with this person day in and day out, no breaks. Like, I'm just saying, you know, go get a coffee. Go out to eat, you know, go out to dinner once or twice before the thing, you know, maybe discuss how y'all are feeling about the case. what your goals are. And that leads me to my next tip. Number 2 is create a team wiki. And this does not have to be super extensive, but one thing that my team did was that we actually made a document that listed our strengths, our weaknesses, that listed what our goals were, what we wanted out of this competition. And it also had some other stuff on there that I can't remember right now. But we definitely talked about like, okay, so what part of this do you enjoy? Do you enjoy researching more than formatting a presentation? Do you enjoy designing a presentation, like picking colors and schemes and things like that over researching? Right? So those things are important to know, because you don't want to have the person that hates to do research doing the research, right? It's not going to be as fun for them. It's not going to be enjoyable. And the research probably isn't going to be that good.
Hey, yo!
So that's one thing that I wish my team had done a little bit more, was aligning our roles and our responsibilities with our strengths and with the things that we actually like to do. And you know, for some teams that kind of naturally happens, right? Someone will just step up and say, hey, you know what? I like designing presentations. I got that. I can handle it. I got you, period. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it doesn't happen as naturally. So sometimes you have to be more explicit with that from jump, so people know like, hey, this is how we're gonna win, by appealing to everyone's strengths and standing in the gap for each other over our weaknesses. So that is tip number 2, is understanding team members and know the importance of preparation. You have to prepare for this.
Oh, this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's talk about this.
Prepare as much as you can. That's something that my team definitely did. We tried to choose like a slide design before even knowing what the prompt was going to be. We were like, hey, you know what? This color scheme, these graphics, we like this one. This is what we're using on the day of. And because we had such a like tight time constraint, it was really, really helpful to have some decisions just already made, right? Some things that we just already knew was going to happen. Bing, bam, boom. Done. And that leads to my 3rd tip, which is establish a timeline ahead of the actual competition. So again, we had a very tight time constraint, 16 hours for research, for creating the strategies, for discussion, for designing the presentation, for putting the appendix together, all of it, right? And so, of course, we wanted to use our time very, very wisely. And with that, we were able to actually make a schedule and have everyone agree, like, yes, this is our schedule. We're going to stick to it. This is what we're going to do. Now, on the day of, it did move. It did flex a little bit depending upon how comfortable and confident we were feeling about our progress. But we really tried to stick to, like, our breaks, you know, getting up away from the computer and taking a walk, having a snack break, having a lunch break, having a breakfast break. We had to schedule in all of those things because time can really get away from you. And if you're not paying attention, then you're gonna look up and realize I've been staring at my computer for 4 hours and I haven't had any water today. And all of those things, water, food, energy, it's going to affect your cognitive function. And that's going to affect your end product. So you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself during times like these. You want to make sure that you're just time management. You're managing your time very, very wisely, very, very well, and everyone's on the same page about it.
You need to leave.
And everyone's on the same page about, you know, what kind of progress do you want to see by hour 3 or day 3? Where do you guys think we should be with the presentation or with the research at this time? Have we met that goal? What should we change if we don't meet that goal? Right? All of these conversations are so useful to have prior to the KIZH competition, because if you're having them during the KIZH competition, you're actually kind of wasting time that you could be spending on work, on something else, on taking a break. You're wasting that time on just trying to figure this out and having a discussion in the moment about it. So you want to explore just all of the ways that things can kind of move and shift, and be as prepared as you possibly can. And lastly, this is going to be my tip number 4. My last tip is to really value the advice that you get from your advisor. Now, we here at USC, go Trojans, have an advisor already for these KIZH competitions because we have a whole club for it. But if at your school you don't really have one set or picked out, I really advise that you have someone you can turn to, especially during the KIZH competition. You know, set up a quick Zoom meeting, a quick phone call, and be like, hey, this is what we have. What do you think? Help us out. What are we missing, right? It could be someone that has like consulting experience at your college or university. It could be someone that just has a lot of professional experience in the field, which would probably be even better. But it's so important just to have someone else get their eyes in on it. I know that as a group, you can just be so proud of the work that you create. It becomes like your baby, and you're like, I don't want to kill my baby. You know, you don't want to change anything. You don't want to move anything because you're so attached to all of the hard work and effort that you put in. But sometimes you need someone to go in there and shake everything up so that it can get better. It can become a better version of what it was. And so I highly encourage y'all to please lean into the advice that your advisor is giving you, especially if they're experienced, especially if they have the professional background that aligns with KIZH competitions. They're probably right. They're probably right, y'all. Okay, so that was my last tip. Thank you guys so much for watching. I wasn't able to cover every single thing, so please do not hesitate to comment down below any questions you have. I swear I'm gonna answer y'all. It may take me some time, but I'm gonna get to it, okay? And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really just had such a great time in this KIZH competition, so I want to thank just the Penn State Health Administration program for hosting it, for guiding all of the participants through the competition. It was not easy, but it was very worthwhile. It was very rewarding, and it was very challenging, but like in the best way. And so I encourage all of y'all, whether you are in like an MBA program or a Master of Healthcare Administration program, or maybe even an MPH, Master of Public Health program, I encourage all of y'all to do KIZH competitions. It really is not only for those who are in consulting or want to do consulting. It's for anyone who just wants to grow their skills and have a new experience under their belt. And maybe you'll end up liking it, and maybe you'll have something new to look into for your future job or career. And feel free to reach out below in the comments, or you can always DM me on Instagram if you have a more personal question that you just don't want out there on the internet and sitting in my comment section. My Instagram should be linked on my YouTube channel page, so you can go there to find it. And I love y'all so much. I need like a cute little like catchphrase, like a family name, you know. I don't have a thing. I don't have a thing yet. Gosh, I appreciate every single one of y'all, and if I can help one of y'all, you know, find out what y'all want to do, if I can encourage one of y'all to pursue this as a career, because we need more people in healthcare leadership. We need more people of color, honestly, in healthcare leadership, because that's where the big moves is, period. You know, patient care is great, it's amazing, and we definitely need people in those positions who actually care, who want to give equitable, ethical, culturally competent care. But we need us in the rooms where it happens, right? Where the big money is being moved around, where the decisions are being made, we need us in those rooms too. All right, so if I could encourage anybody who looks like me, who identifies with me, who relates to me, to join me in this field, hey, I'll be happy with that. You know what I'm saying? So sorry, I turn southern when I get sentimental. This is the longest outro ever, yo. So, okay, I'm done. Thank you guys. Again, follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna put it right here. Boop. And follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna put that right here. Boop. And that's it. All right, hey guys. So thank you so much for watching the vlog portion of this. Actually, let me just start over because this is starting on a really weird note right now. Just my piercing. Sorry. Okay. And typically I sing out with a song, but I'm gonna sing out with some hair. I'm gonna sign off with some hair appreciation today, and I'm gonna go ahead and shout out my cousin who has like a hair care skincare brand. It is called Sweet Do Beauty, and thanks to her, this braid out is amazing. Like, look at the, do y'all see the shine? Just hold on. The body yaddy 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 yaddy. Shout out to Brenna and Atika. That's my girl. Those are my girls. What do they call it? Trauma bonding. We trauma bonded because that was trauma. That was stress. When you go back and you think about it, it's not okay. And you know what? I really appreciate that because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I have every right to be like, I'm the best. Because I am. And I do believe that. And I do know that. I do know my worth. It's just sometimes the outside world is doing everything in its power to invalidate you. And so you be like, and I'm also just always trying to buffer for ways in which my blackness is being perceived. So, but really, I guess it's just a public announcement that I really appreciate all the people that have congratulated me on this win, and that have been like supporting me and like rooting for me. Like, I cannot even begin to tell y'all how much that really means to me. Just not only as another human being, or not only as your classmate or as just a fellow cohort member, but also just as a Black woman in general. Like, that's not common. If anything, Black women are just, you know, overlooked, ignored, underappreciated, undervalued, underpaid, baby. Underpaid. So I really appreciate anyone who takes time and thought out of their day and energy out of their day to validate something that I've done, something that I said, something that I thought about. I don't know. So it really means a lot to me, and I know sometimes I don't always say it in the moment, or I act like it's not a big deal, or I kind of push it off, and I dismiss it, and that's just really a trauma response. And my real feelings are that I appreciate you and I thank you so much. So this is really just to say, like, please do everything in your power to appreciate and validate Black women, because we deserve it. We just deserve it. We deserve everything. We deserve the world. We deserve all the good things. We deserve all the good things. So take time out of your day to validate a Black woman today. Till next time, Duhnays, I will see y'all later. And don't forget, take care of yourselves, love yourselves, and do the work because you deserve it, babes. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. It's yeah. Yeah. All right. Peace out.